Hey, what's going on, guys? Pete here with MixBetterNow.com and LearningToMix.com, and today we're going to be checking out my top 5 most versatile compressor plugins. Now, just two things to touch on before we get going here is that, first of all, these are just my opinions, of course. If you guys disagree with this or if you think there should be a different compressor in my top 5, let me know in the comments section below. All right, last point here is that this is not a tutorial on how to use these compressors. This is simply just a top 5 list of what I think are the most versatile and the most Swiss Army-like compressors. Coming in at number 5, we have the MCDEE 6030 Ultimate Compressor. Now, this is a really great little plugin from Colin over at MCDEE. Colin's a great guy, great plugin company, and what makes this so versatile is that we've got 10 different compressors in one plugin. So as you can see over here, we've got these tabs, and if you toggle through them, you're going to see the interface change, and some of the controls are going to change as well. But what's nice is you have everything from a Fairchild, which is right here, to a Varimute tube style compressor. You've got 2 different optical compressors. You've got an SSL. You've got an 1176 style compressor. And then he went ahead and threw a couple unique individual circuits in here. Okay, you can see as I'm toggling through. So it's just really nice, and you're going to get a lot of different tonal flavors out of this guy. Just kind of give you a little... show you what it looks like with the interface. I'm just playing a little drum loop here. Okay, so as you guys can see, you've got 10 different options under the hood here at a very reasonable price. Coming in at number 4, we have the awesome Sonix Oxford Dynamics unit. Now, I'm a really big fan of Sonix Oxford plugins in general. I use the EQ, this compressor, and the limiter all the time. The inflator is also wonderful. The suppressor is great. They make so many good plugins. Now, there's a couple things for me that make this an indispensable compressor, and also a very versatile one. A couple different reasons. If you look at the compressor type down here, we're going to have 3 different compressor types. So you've got normal, classic, and linear. Classic takes a few of these options away, and it just gives you a real bare bones. You've got a threshold and a ratio, so it's very akin to like a DBX 160 setup. But if we click back here to normal, you're going to see all the usual suspects. You've got a wide range of attack and release settings. You've got your ratio. You've got your makeup gain. We can tweak the knee setting, so if you want to stay with a hard knee, or if you want to go with a soft knee, you can see as I click this, it's going to smooth out the knee here, okay? So we'll put it back to where it was. We got a dither in here, so if you want to put this on your mix bus, and like let's just say you've got a rough mix and you're printing out a mix, you can choose to implement some type of dither here. And then if we look below, we have a ton of really cool options that you don't see on a ton of compressors. Okay, you might see these on some channel strips with EQs, but not just with compressors. So you've got a gate, you've got an expander, you've got the compressor, which we were just looking at. You've got a wonderful sounding limiter, great side chain EQ, and this might be my favorite part, is this warmth feature down here. What this is going to do is when you click it in right here, it's going to add a little bit of kind of like tube transformer flavor to it, and it's going to add a lot of punch to the overall sound of the compressor. Check it out. So what Sonix has done here is they've put a lot of features under the hood, and this thing is good to go on just about any audio source. All right, coming in at number 3, we have this beast on the screen, which is, of course, the Presswork compressor from the good folks at Youheat. A lot of you might know Youheat from their amazing synthesizer virtual instruments. They also make the tape plugin Satin, which is great. But this is really a compressor chocked full of different features, and you're going to have a lot of features that you're not going to see on really a lot of other compressor plugins, okay? So if we just kind of take a look at the interface, you're gonna see all of your usual suspects. Threshold, you've got your ratio, your attack, your release, you've got a mix area up here where you're going to be able to implement a high pass filter, you've got a dry wet knob, you've got a level control. Over here we can actually tweak the different types of compressor detection, so you can go between a feed forward and a feedback type of compressor, which is really cool. You'll commonly see that on an API 2500, okay? You can link and unlink both channels, as you can see here. The interface looks really good. Down here you've got a very intuitive side chain. You've got a saturation section over here, which is really cool because you can put it pre or post, and then you can also sort of dial in the amount that you want, how much it's going to affect the dynamics, and then you also have this warmth knob down here. Now, as if that wasn't enough, you've got so many presets under the hood that really just make this amazing. So if I click on the preset menu right here, you're going to see, we'll just click on drums, and you can see all of these different presets you have here. We'll toggle through them very quickly to show you really how versatile this thing can sound. We'll start on acoustic kick smasher, and then we'll toggle with this arrow here. Now this is a great point to point out, This is a great point to show you how they have different interfaces for different compressors under the hood here, okay? So if you see where it says initial view, right now we're on the easy compressor. What this does is it sort of uses each of these controls as macros. So as you can see, there was a lot of individual knobs and settings on the initial interface. But what they do here is they just kind of break it down and simplify it for whatever type of audio source you're trying to compress or use it on. So here, this is easy compressor, very simple ratio, threshold, very much like a DBX 160. But for example, if we come over here to drum compressor, you're going to see that it kind of looks like an 1176 in terms of the controls, input, output, ratio. So the harder you drive it with a fixed threshold, you're going to have that. You got a mix knob, your side chains built in. On the vocal compressor, this is sort of going to be like an LA2A style layout where you just have your your ratio, you've got your response, you've got your input and your output. So, it's kind of like a mixture between an LA2A and maybe like a Varimu style compressor. What else? On the bus compressor, this is good to go. It's kind of going to mimic an SSL. So as you can see, you dial it in right here. So let's just say, we got it where we want it. I don't know, we'll do something like this. Okay, so I just tweaked that. Now if we go ahead and go back to the normal view, these settings are going to remain. So now that we're back in the normal view, all of our attack and release and all that stuff is going to basically stay here. So look, there's so much you can do with this. It's absolutely versatile, and you can use this on whatever audio source you want to compress. Coming in at number 2, we have one of my new favorite compressors out there. This is the Novatron from UBK Kush. This thing is absolutely amazing. It sounds incredible, and it is very, very versatile to boot. So it looks kind of futuristic and space age, but that's kind of Gregory Scott's style. If you've used any of these plugins before, if you know his hardware, they're all amazing. But if we basically break this down, you've got your attack, your release, you've got the compressor right here, which is sort of like a threshold. You've got 2 different meters right here. You've got saturation. Up here, you've got a sidechain high pass filter. You've got a blend knob. You've got input. You got output. And what makes this really special is down here we've got different modes. So we have mix, punish, and limit. All 3 of these circuits sound really different. And then you have a tone shift, airy, dark, and flat, and that's going to actually tweak what the EQ of the compressor sounds like. As if that wasn't cool enough, If we look here at the attack and release knobs, you're going to see that you're going to see a little mu here, a VCA here, and then a FET here on both of these. And what these sort of indicate is if you want a little bit of, you know, that vari-mu style of compression, you can set your attack right around there. And the same thing on the release, you could set it right around there. You'll get a vari-mu flavor. Obviously, if you want something around the VCA range, you could do that. Or if you want to get extreme with some FET style compressing, you could bring these over here. These are just sort of like guidelines. You know, it's not, it doesn't necessarily change the circuit, but it mirrors more of a common attack and release time that you would use on a vari-mu style compressor, a VCA or a FET. Real quick, let's just take a listen to what this guy sounds like. We'll just go with like a 10 millisecond on the attack, maybe like 80 on the release. So when we bring the saturate in, it can really get aggressive, which you can use on a lot of sound sources to your advantage. And then just listen to what happens when I tweak this mode knob down here. Okay, so you really get a lot of flex out of this, and it's a very assertive sounding compressor. This is something I would definitely go for on drums, on bass, any type of parallel compression on vocals, and this sounds amazing even on the mix bus. All right, and for me, the #1 most versatile compressor that is out there at the moment is this lovely lady right here, the Fabfilter Pro C2. I mean, just look at the interface alone. It's beautiful. Of course, it doesn't matter what it looks like, but it certainly doesn't hurt when you're looking at it while you're mixing. There is really nothing that this can't do. One of the main things that makes this so versatile is all the different compressor types down here. You've got clean, classic, which is kind of going to be like a FET, little bit of a DBX kind of thing going on, maybe a little bit of both. You've got your optical style. You've got a vocal compressor here, which is probably going to be a little bit more LA2A-ish. You've got a very clean mastering compressor. You've got a bus compressor that's probably going to give you a little bit of that VCA, SSL thing, and then you've got punch and pumping all to your effect. You know, threshold, ratio, attack, release. The auto gain on here is amazing. It's very usable. I find on a lot of not just compressors, but plugins, the auto gain isn't really accurate. On this, it's very accurate. You can tweak the knee. It's got a great range setting. You can go look ahead and then how long it'll hold, whatever you want. You have a dry knob here where you could blend signal in, and down here you have a very intuitive sort of sidechain filter going on. I'm going to hit play just so you could see what it looks like with all of these meters. So as you can see, it shows you the kick and snare transients there and actually how much it's compressing them. Now, obviously, this would show up on whatever you're using. If it were a bass, a guitar, a vocal, you would see the transients in the exact same way. Down below here, I have the side chain engaged around 80, but you can slide this back. You can push it up. You could change the slope of the side chain. You can turn it off. You could, you could bring in a low pass, okay? So it's extremely well-rounded. You've got MIDI learn, oversampling, look ahead, as I said before, and then you've got your input and your output levels. You can change the size of everything, which is really helpful, okay? So I showed you this knee here before. You could actually see the knee. But let's just say we want to get rid of all these and make it nice and small. You can just click these buttons here. Where's the other one? Display. And then you've got a nice little compact package. Last but not least, we can change our meter on here. So if we want to really see what we're doing, we can go from 9 dB to 90 dB, okay? You're going to see a lot more of the waveform here. And And then obviously it gets a little bit more coarse. But if you want to go real fine adjustment, you can go 0 to 9 dB. And, you know, I mean, and look, it's even got metering up here. It'll tell you where you're at in terms of RMS and peak level, all that good stuff. It's got a slew of different presets. So my number one winner for me is the Fabfilter Pro C2. If somebody held a gun to my head and said, you have to mix an entire record with one plug-in compressor, this would be my choice. All right, and just a fun little curveball, no top 5 list would be complete without a wild card. So my wild card choice here is the Klanghelm MJUC, which is a wonderful little compressor from the good folks at Klanghelm. What makes these plugins so cool is they're very affordable and they sound amazing. This plugin I think is like $25 or $30. It's like 25 euros, I think. But what this is you have 3 different Vari-Mu compressors and circuits in one. Mark 1 here is one flavor, 2 is another, 3 is another, and they've got a whole ton of features packed into this, which makes it sound great. You've got, if we look at 1, you've got a variable timing structure here for your attack and release. But if we look at, say, number 3, you can really dial in, you know, fast to slow on both. You can add some punch into here. You can darken or sort of brighten up the timbre of the song. You can dirty up your compression a little bit with this drive knob here. You've got a sidechain filter and a dry-wet mix knob. So this bad boy's got everything that you can really get going, and I think you can use this on a lot of different sound sources as well. All right, so there you have it. That is my top 5 list of most versatile plug-in compressors out there. Just to recap, coming in at number 5, we had the Mic DSP 6030 Ultimate Compressor. Coming in at number 4, the Sonix Oxford Dynamics. Number 3, we had the Youheat Presswork. Number 2 was the Novatron from the good folks at UBK Kush. And then my number 1 winner here is the lovely and very, very versatile Fabfilter Pro C2. All right, so that's the top 5 list, guys. Listen, if you disagreed with what I chose in here, leave a comment below. Let me know what you would have rather had in here, or if you would have rearranged this in any way. Maybe there's some compressors I don't know about. I'm always down to check out some new stuff. As always, I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, I will catch you next time.